I'm going to break a principle, and that is any preaching instructor, teacher of preaching homiletics these days would always pass on a little mantra. You must be willing to murder your children. Now, I'm sure some of you who are parents have often thought of that, but that's not what we're talking about. Very often when someone is preparing to preach or is preaching, you get an idea on the fly and say, oh, that's a great idea, I should go there. Don't do that. Be willing to murder your child. But I'm going to do that this evening. Because I said at the beginning of the Mass that the song is drawn from our gospel. The entrance processional song that we had is drawn from our gospel. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Why are we here tonight? Well, it's the early Sunday Mass, and this way I'm free for football tomorrow. And this is the nearest church that I live to, so yeah, this is a good spot. No. Yes, it is Sunday. And yes, we are preparing for the celebration. But you see, in the Catholic community, and I say that very intentionally, we come together not just as a group of people in a room because, well, here, there, whatever, it's all the same. We make an intentional choice to form a community of believers who identify ourselves as a community rooted in word and sacrament. It's not just, well, it's 4:30, so St. Joseph's pretty close, let's go there. No. St. Joseph's is our home, our spiritual home. And it's here we become something more than just a collection of people who happen to be sitting in a brick box. I tie that into our gospel and to our first reading, because in the first reading that we have this brilliant reading from Ezekiel. We've been hearing from the deacon and from myself about Ezekiel's preaching. Ezekiel now is preparing the people for when they return from the exile. And where previous to the exile, all the prophets spoke to the people as a group. Everything was about you, O Israel. You, O Israel. You do good, you do bad. Everything happens as a community. Now, for the first time, as they return from the exile, it becomes you, O man. You, O woman. You by name. Us by individuals. Morality now becomes not just social, but also individual. And Ezekiel says, if someone does something wrong, tell them. If they correct it, then it's not only for their good, but for your good too. If they don't, well, they deserve what they get, but you at least are free of punishment. And Jesus picks that up again in the gospel. Now, Jesus says, if your brother is doing something wrong, go and confront him about it. If he pays attention to you, great. If he doesn't, then slander him on Facebook. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, you kind of smear his name. But the root of it is not because you're right and they're wrong, but because of the way that our selection from St. Paul ends. Love sums up all the commandments. If you and I, in the ways in which we act toward each other, are not in fact fulfilling the commandment to love, then we've missed all 10 of the commandments. Tell the truth all you want. If you don't do it out of love, you missed it. Believe in one God or 5 gods. If you don't do it out of love, you've missed it. The root of all the commandments, so I get my quote right. Love does no evil to the neighbor, hence, love is the fulfillment of the law. And this is not taken from Paul's letter to the Corinthians, where we have the great hymn to love that we often use at marriages. This is taken from Paul's letter to the Romans, where it's all about justification. It's about the law. He's almost a lawyer in this letter. And he's saying the bottom line is, We are a people who must live in love. We could spend days, years, if you want, talking about what does that look like? What does that mean, live in love? I mean, you get little cute posters and coffee mugs and all that kind of stuff. You know as well as I do, maybe even better than I do. Love is hard work. Love is not easy. It's easier to love the people who do what we like. People who agree with us, people who look like us, sound like us, walk like us. A whole lot harder to love the people that don't. And yet to act out of love is not a great recommendation for people who go to monasteries. It is the commandment of the Lord for all of us who are baptized. Not an option. It is to be the way we live. And I think that's something we should be talking around the dinner table. As you get together, please have dinner together at least once a week if you're a family. At least that. Instead of just talking about, well, did you survive today? Did you go to detention today? Or whatever it might be. Talk about, how do we live this? What does it look like when you and I, did we try to do this today? Did we at least give it effort to live in love? That's not a mamby-pamby type of thing. It's not something for hearts and flowers. It takes blood, sweat, and tears. It took Christ the cross. If it cost him his life, it will cost us no less. It will be something on which not only we are judged, but something you and I are called on to live, not just when we're old, but every single day of our life from womb to tomb. To live and love. To live in love. It's a challenge. It's a command. It's also a delight. Because we have a community of people here, in this church, in this community, who are committed, by the mere fact that we claim to be parishioners of St. Joseph's, to supporting each other in doing that. And Deacon Bill and I are engaged in baptisms. One of the things we always point out as we talk to the parents and the godparents, look around you. These people are here to help you and to show this young person what it means to be a Christian, a Catholic. They look at us. What will they say? Love sums up all the commandments. Let it also be that which sums up our lives.